see things and ask questions and be prepared. But how many of you have used Haiku? You've been on your parent account, you know your username and password. I'm not sure that you have one actually. I don't think you have an account. So I'll have to send you, but you can watch and get a sense, and then I'll send you the information that you need. But basically, this is our second full year with Haiku, and it is a way to get the teachers, the students, and the parents all together. Obviously, when the students are new, we need high levels of teacher and parent interaction, and the student may be, only able to do this much. As they graduate, we get to the point where the students are basically managing their Haiku themselves, and teachers are posting stuff, and parents are just monitoring to make sure things are going on. So that levels of that partnership change. If you want to jump on one of these laptops, feel free. If you just want to watch, I will be going through some things, but you can test it out and see some of the stuff that we're going to do. So, obviously, there are 3 ways that you can get information from Haiku. The first one is to make your child open up their account and show you what they've got on Haiku. That's an okay way, although it doesn't provide much flexibility for you in terms of time. And it also gives us a sort of incorrect vision of what the student is doing on Haiku. As an administrator, I can see when they log on, how long they are on, what pages they're going to, what things they're working on. So that gives me a pretty good glimpse into how students are managing their homework. If you have your child's password and login, then whenever you get on, it appears as if your child is getting on, and that kind of muddies the waters for us a little bit in terms of being able to work with them. The second is when you sign up, you use an email address, and it will send you email updates. Now that's a decent way to get information from Haiku, but not the best, because those email updates, the default is that they are coming as a daily digest. So if I give an assignment, at 3:30 before I leave, and you want to know what that assignment is, you won't get an email until 4 a.m. because Haiku is on Pacific time, and they wait till the end of the day. So that's not particularly helpful. It might be okay if it's a long-term project or something like that, where you just need a little bit of advance notice. But anything that comes up, the next day, that's not going to help much. So the very best way is to log into the Haiku portal, which is what we're going to do. Okay. And if you haven't done that, then you'll have an opportunity to do it right now. So, and the way you do that is to go through the school's website. So if you're at one of these computers, if it logged itself out, it may say student, and the password is student. That's one of our really hard to break passwords. If it didn't log itself out, it should just come up. I'm glad you could make it.
Thank you.
It'll come up to the school's website, and you have this bar right here that says Quick Links, okay? And one of the options under Quick Links is Upper Division Haiku Parent Login. Lower division students don't get the same kind of access to Haiku that you do, and your child does. They basically have web pages, and the parents can see sort of updates. They can't see their child's grades and assignments like you guys can. So you're going to click on that Haiku Parent Login. And that's going to take you to a page that looks like this. And the place that you sign in is over here on the right, where you will put your username and password. So hopefully you remember that.
I know.
Okay. What I'll do, I'll actually, I'll get your names and email addresses. A lot of you may have accounts that you had to use your username, so because it just sends the emails. But this will be a much more effective way of using Haiku. We're also recording this, so if you need to watch back and remember some of this stuff, we're going to allow that as well. But let me just go ahead and show you what it looks like. when you do log in. And Martha, do you mind if I use Eleanor?
That's fine.
I'm going to pretend to be you.
Okay.
So this is one of the benefits of being the Dean of Students is I can masquerade as anybody in the system. So if you ever lose your password or forget your password, I can't find your password, it won't show it to me, but I can reset it and then send you a temporary one that you can then go on and change. So this is what it looks like when you actually log into the Haiku site. This is called the portal. This gives you a picture of everything that's going on in all of your child's classes. You have over here the class pages going from first period through seventh period. You have a calendar in the center which will list and color code their assignments. So you can scroll down to several days from now if there's a project and have a heads up on what's coming as well as what's due tomorrow. So it'll say is due. You can ignore the times because the times don't really matter. We don't use those very much. But you can see the date. So tomorrow, Eleanor has a test on chapter 4. So she's probably home studying right now, okay? Because I know Eleanor. There are announcements. The announcements will be posted by teachers to remind students of things. It could be, quiz is coming up or a test is coming up. It could be, remember our checkpoint for part 2 of the project is happening. Then you have the report card, and I'll certainly talk more about that. And then any recent activity. And you can also, if we scroll down here a little bit, you can also see recent grades. So obviously the grades are going very well. It's a kind of a strange time to look at the Haiku page because we're 1 week into the quarter. So all of those grades that were just on the report card a week ago have now been sort of put in the history, and we've now got teachers putting in new grades. So if you do want to see what those individual, that tells you the cumulative grade for the class. So if we came over here and clicked on social studies under the report card, it's going to take us to the list of individual grades. And here you can see the scores, you can see the titles, and then it gives you the option to break it down according to which quarter you want to look at. So if we want to only look at quarter 2 for this social studies course, we can see that there's our subtotal, the same one that was on the portal. That is based on these 2 homework assignments and this 1 test or project. If there was a quiz, obviously that plays in. And the handbook will tell you exactly what the percentages are on there. I think for all of the upper division, it's 40% homework, 30% quizzes, and 30% tests. So that's how things are weighted. So you can go back, if you wanted to compare, you can come back here to quarter 1. And you can see all the grades that were assigned in that class during quarter 1. So that gives you a real ability to see, all the detail that's going on, and that you can also see the dates on assignments if you click on them because, maybe there's a drop-off, and you're trying to figure out when did that happen. Do we have something going on at home and it's hard to study or pay attention or really focus on the assignments, and so I can see if there's been an issue there. Anytime you are in your account, you can come click on Home, and that's going to take you right back to the portal. Now, any of these assignments, a lot of times there aren't details, but if there's a homework assignment and the teacher has provided some extra detail on what that homework assignment is, that's intended for the student, but it's good for you to have the access to that. There might be specific instructions on that particular assignment, and by clicking on it, it will actually bring that up. So I can look at a couple here and see if Some teachers will use that a lot, some teachers won't use it nearly as much. If I were to click on this one. So continue to read as much as you can for 15 minutes and make a note of how far you got. This thick packet will be our textbook for information for a while. So it gives the student and you some information about what exactly is going on that assignment. These links over here are links to the course sites. So each course has a gradebook, and each course has a website that has information in some cases. Sometimes it's very generic. It's sort of like the pacing guide and some information about the course. Some teachers put a lot of information on there, so it's a good idea to have a sense of what's going on. So if I try, let's see, you can try reading. This is Miss Spooner. You can see she's got a discussion page, words of the week. Sometimes the description of the assignment might say, go to the words of the week on the Haiku site and answer the questions that are on, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes that, looking at the description of the assignment can be very helpful. You will only be able to see the things that your child has access to see. So if there's a discussion group, sometimes discussion groups are made open to the whole course, to everybody in the class, and they can freely respond to each other back and forth. Sometimes it's a one-to-one back and forth with the teacher, and so you would only be able to see your child's information. You wouldn't be able to see anybody else's response. When you're accessing through a parent account, you don't have permission to make any changes or edits. However, there is an option. I'm not sure if any teachers have done it yet, but you can make a discussion group that includes the parents. So you could be invited to have a discussion with your child and the other students in the class along with the teacher. So that's something that maybe I'll assign for homework for our teachers to play with at some point. But this gives you much more information than just getting those nightly emails, which come too slow and don't really give you a lot of detail. So the portal is, we've got some information up on the site about how to get to the portal, and certainly if you can't remember your password or your username, or you don't have one, just feel free to email me and I will get that information out to you. We got just only a few minutes, but does anybody have general questions about Haiku? Has anybody had any troubles? They're pretty responsive when we have technical issues. I had one parent who they had accidentally been put as a student in a course, and when they were removed from the course, that was Miss Spence. Yeah. But in all fairness, the father and the son had the same first name, so it's an easy mistake. And when he was taken out, there was this little glitch where now he couldn't see any of the grades, he couldn't see any of the stuff because it had still sort of identified him as a student that was no longer in those courses. So I had to email the Haiku people, and they looked at it for a couple of days, and they finally figured it out. So if there are problems, we can fix a lot of it. If it's something that we can't fix, we can send it to them, and they're very responsive about fixing bugs. Yes?
This is not probably Haiku, but
sure.
They do seem to do a lot of assignments on Google Docs.
Yes. So Google Docs and Haiku are connected for us. The way that, so you have that link to go to that page that we signed in on, the parent sign in. You might have noticed when I said, parents, you're going to sign in over here. Well, the students are over there, and what they have is a button that says, I have a students.nobleknights.org email address. And that comes through our system, which is Gmail and Google Apps. So they have a Gmail account, which also gives them Google Docs, gives them Google Sites, and connects Haiku. So as a teacher, that's really convenient for me because I can make a project on Google Docs, and then I can post it on my Haiku page. And it's now published to everybody who's in that class, including you as parents. They can then read that on the site. They can create another Google Doc and share it back with me, or sometimes I can even give them edit access to that document. So Google Docs is basically a cloud service. I had 4 students working on the same document at once, and they can sit there and talk and work together. Yes.
What, are they able to sync this? I mean, when they do homework or whatever, they can sync the assignment when, I mean, do they have to be here to do that? Can they do that at home?
They can do it at home. Yep. All they need is their email address or their username. When they log into Google, their Google Apps account from our webpage, it inserts that students.nobleknights.org for them. So all they have to do is put in the first part, which would be E. Schaefer or M. Ziegler or whatever, and then their password. And then that puts them in everything. So they don't have to do a separate login to Haiku and Google Docs and all that. They log into everything at once.
And if they're using, if they have Windows 7 or whatever at home,
Yes.
it does not matter whether they're using this pad or another, like,
You can, there are still some, editing Google Docs on an iPad or other tablet is still somewhat problematical. You can do it. There is a Google Drive. It's now called Google Drive, actually, because you can store any sort of file on it. So they want to call it Google Drive. But you can edit documents on the Google Drive app. It's not perfect, and it can be a little glitchy, but they can do it, and they can do it on a Mac. All they need is an internet, basically.
Okay, but what would be better? What, I mean, I'm more than happy to provide something else. What would you recommend then?
Most of what we use is PC. We have a few students with Mac, though. It's really, I would say, just a matter of preference. I would say a laptop, preferably.
Yeah.
As opposed to a tablet.
An Apple laptop. Is that what I'm talking
That would
about?
work perfectly fine.
Oh, that's what he has, so then there's no
Yeah,
problem?
absolutely. Other questions about either Haiku or any of the other sort of online services that we use? Well, certainly Mrs. Sebas, she's officially in charge of the academic stuff now that she's the head of the upper division. But I'm one of the ones that helped bring in Haiku, so I've been working with them for the last couple of years. So you're more than welcome to send questions to either of us if it's a question about a grade or something like that. And I will say the one thing that I'll leave you with is, if we go back to the portal, you'll notice in this report card, Reading 8 has a dash as the grade. The reason that is right now is because we are only 1 week into the quarter, and there are no grades that have been recorded in that class. However, it's not impossible that teachers sometimes forget to publish the grade. So if you get 2 weeks or 3 weeks into a course and you're looking at that and it's still a dash, please do not hesitate to email that teacher and say, I'm not seeing a grade on Haiku, and they'll go, oh yeah, right, I need to click this button that publishes the grades to everybody. Because we have access, sometimes when it's a test or something like that, if a student fails a test but they get to take a retake, we're not going to publish that grade until after they've retaken it, because we don't want to freak you out. So.
And thank you for that.
So we do our best with that. But certainly there's a lot more to do with Haiku, but we're out of time for our 20 minutes. So if you do have questions, then you can feel free to send me an email. If you are logged into your account, you should go up to the top right where it says log out. And that's what we tell all our students when they're on a public laptop. And then you can just close the lids of those laptops. Just head on to